Hello, everybody, and welcome to YouTube Mall Builders Tuesday night Johnny Show with Miles Hale. Miles is doing a layout tour tonight, and I've been looking at some of this, and while he's getting set up, looking good. I know some of you guys are going, "Hey, you're running late." Yeah, we had a little technical difficulty, but we got it worked out now. So, anyway, go to YouTubeMallBuilders.com. There you can click on the links for the Tuesday, Wednesday, and the live show and get the schedules and the times. Tuesday and Wednesday are at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. The Thursday night show and the Saturday live show is going to be at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern time. And we've got a live show coming up this coming Saturday with Big Bill and Barry, and they've got an interesting show for you, and that's about all I'm going to say about that one. So, and also while you're there at YouTubeMallBuilders.com, be sure and click on the e-mag. JD and his team do a great job on that. It's always a really good read, and he's got a lot of good contributing writers for that. And if you're interested, be sure and sign up. JD will be glad to help you write an article on it. Alrighty, I think Miles is getting close to being ready here, and I may have to table dance another minute or so, but all right, let's get over here and get the man of the hour on the screen. Hi, Miles, it's all yours.
Well, good evening. I feel like Edward R. Murrow sitting here, on the old show. And we're just sitting here talking. This is Dale Feta Place. And Dale models the Western Maryland?
Correct.
Okay. And you have some other railroads that you connect with.
Right.
Tell me about them.
Okay. It connects with B&O, C&O, Reading, Pennsy, Norfolk and Western.
Good. Okay. And this railroad is set up. Now, this is, first of all, you have a large railroad because this is 25 by 45 feet, essentially.
Yeah.
And you have a nice, obviously, crew lounge here that we're sitting in,
right,
rocking away. I'm not so sure that we want to do a show. We'll just sit here, rock, and talk about it.
Okay.
You'll go for that, right?
Yeah.
But actually, your trains start off in staging, and you have a huge staging yard then down the middle of the railroad?
Middle and across the end.
Okay. And I think you believe a little bit like I do. I don't really believe in helixes if you can stay it all away from them. So when you come out of staging, you're literally running around all of at least a good portion of the railroad to gain the height to come up from your staging to get to the railroad.
It can come out either side, but it runs the whole length of the railroad to come up and all.
And we'll give everybody kind of a little under the scenes view here. This is the staging yard that the viewers are looking at now. And when that comes out now, that can come up at your mines.
No, it doesn't. It comes out over at each side, and then you have to run up to the mines and all. Some of the tracks down there are open at each end. Some are stub end tracks. So it depends on which tracks it comes out of.
Okay. And you can come then up to your main yard, which is right here behind us.
Yeah, it comes up. There's a yard on either side of the railroad, and one side comes up when it's coming from the east. It comes up to the one side. From the west, it comes up to the other side, basically to the yards, and then you have to run on up to get up to the mines.
All right, and they're looking at the mines now, which are actually, it's the peninsula that runs pretty much down the middle of the width of the railroad.
Right. Right.
Okay. All right. So let's get up for a minute, and then we'll take a look. We'll let them look at the mine for a second while I kind of readjust cameras here. But let's take a look at your main yard, and I can get my cameras to cooperate at all, hopefully. There we go. We'll cut to that one. Okay, now we're talking about this main yard over here. Why don't you walk around and talk a little bit about it, and I'll try and keep it focused.
The one main yard is curved around to the side here and runs back here along the side. I've set up a lot of building flats to make it look like you're coming into the city. I don't know. You could probably call the one town here Cumberland, the other one probably Hagerstown and all. It isn't prototypical to Western Maryland, all the towns in the correct order, but I have some of the flavor to what's around and all like that. So,
okay. And then when you come around here across the viaduct, then you're proceeding on around into the viaduct, right? Or past it?
right. If you can see I don't know if you can see that, the double tunnel entrance over there, that's where it goes down to the staging.
Okay.
Or it would come up, either one.
Come up a little bit and we'll get a better view of that. All right. And that's way back in the back. Point to it again, and I think people will be able to see.
It's the lower, there's two upper tunnels, single tunnels, but the double tunnel is where it goes down the one side to staging. Okay. It's a double track. It's double track the whole way going down to staging, and there are some crossovers.
Okay. And then tell me about the ferry here.
Okay, this is a car float. I'm modeling in the mid 50s, probably doesn't really fit the era because it wasn't until in the 60s that they got the car float, but I wanted a car float on my railroad. Western Maryland had a car float that went from Baltimore over to Sparrows Point, and there's a steel mill at Sparrows Point, went over there, and I just wanted a car float. Makes a good switching job for people. It basically, with the amount of track I have and the way you'd have to load and unload a car float, it's going to be quite a switching job because you have to take cars on and off just one or two at a time from side to side so you wouldn't flip the float. So
you're actually operating that car float or the barge as they actually operated on the railroad, where they actually had to balance as they took cars on.
Right.
And off.
You have to balance it and all, because you can't pull all the cars off one side or you would flip the float. So
yeah. All right.
This is a section I'm just working on. I just got the track in for this. The switches you can see they're hooked up, but they're hanging out. I haven't gotten those finished yet and all. This is a section I'm working on right now and all. There's a turntable at the one end of this peninsula. It's going to have a 10-stall roundhouse there. The base hadn't been painted. It's just sitting there right now, but there's a turntable and roundhouse going at that end.
Okay. They're looking at that, so they're seeing it. Okay, and then the buildings, are they scratch built or are they kits, or how are you making those?
There's anything from scratch built to kit bash to straight craftsman kits. There's all different ones on here. I mean, depending on which building it is and all.
I'm looking at the white one. That is
that's a Bar Mills.
Okay. All right, and the one just to the left of that?
To the left, that's Downtown Deco. Next to are probably Bar Mills. The mine up there, right to your left there on that peninsula, that's scratch built.
Over here?
Yeah.
All right, let me pan over to that. That drive everybody crazy. I'll make them dizzy coming over here, but it's all right.
The littler mine, not the green one, but the other one.
Okay, the green one is what?
It's a BTS kit.
Okay. All right, and the little one you're talking about is this red one over here?
Yeah, that one's scratch built.
Okay.
Just using some parts. It's got titchy chutes and some different things.
Okay. And then if we pan back around, going back over towards some of the city buildings over there.
There's, like I say, there's a little bit of everything. Like when we get around here, a lot of the flats are design preservation that I've just put together and all. A lot of those are bar mills back in there.
Okay. Let's see if I can get a.
You can see I like a lot of the bar mills kits. Some of these are there's Campbell's in here. I think it was like Ed Foose, I want to say, did some of the plaster ones, and a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Some are built to what they say. Some have had things added to them. It just depends on the building.
All right. And what's your control system for the railroad itself?
Control system is NCE. I used to have Digitrack. When Digitrack first came out, I got to the point where I was having some problems with Digitrack. I didn't like the fact that I had to tether to acquire an engine, and I ran NCE on some other layouts. I liked NCE, so I switched.
Okay.
And I'm very happy with NCE.
Okay. Been a lot of chatter, I think, out on the internet lately about NCE and people liking it. Trying to get a little bit better shot of some of your buildings back in there. Looking pretty good. All right. I want to do a little bit of a camera change. And what are you doing then as far as your track goes?
Track is either 83 or 70 micro engineering. All the turnouts are built using fast tracks, jigs. I have some 4s, some 6s, some curved switches. But I've probably built 140 to 150 switches for the layout and all.
Wow. And that yard area that we looked at first, that's some of the last of the area that you've been working on? As far as track goes, I mean.
Up top here?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, in the staging down below, I've used Atlas Flex Track and Atlas switches, just the 83s down, code 83 down there and all.
Okay. All right, take a look over here at the other part of the layout. I'll kind of get you focused up on a new camera, and you can see what I'm pointed at there.
Okay, you're looking at the sawmill.
Yeah,
that's fine scale, and it has sound to it. I have some sound modules on the layout, and that the sawmill has sound. The Mind here has sound.
Okay, hold on. I'll catch up to you here in a second.
Yeah. If I can figure out which switch to turn on here.
And you said you had sound on this sawmill, correct?
Yeah.
A little different view there.
Well, I don't know if I turned the right switch on. I don't turn everything. I might not have the switch on.
Okay. He's got some pretty sophisticated sound modules, so it's a matter of finding out the right 110 volt circuit to turn on to get him the power for them. But he's working on it. We're getting close. There we go. You got engine sounds anyway. We got green lights everywhere. Yeah, I think so. I think I turned it. It came on, I think.
That's the coal.
It's one of the engines, I think, making a sound over there.
No, that's a coal mine.
Okay.
I don't know.
I was going to stick my microphone up by it.
There.
There we go. Okay. Nothing here or not. There is a buzz to the saws. Trust me. It is working.
There. This has crows down here.
Okay. Hold on a second. I'm going to move them down. I got to move kind of slower.
Okay.
I dizzy everybody doing this process. It's coming down the line towards the coal mine. And let's back out a little bit. We'll show you what that looks like. There we go. I don't have a track, so we're just dollying across the carpet here, hoping for the best. Here. Try it again. You hear that? Okay. They're there, trust me. Makes for good ambient sound. All right, then let me follow you on back down the aisle here because we got a bunch of buildings around the corner that we can show. We got, obviously he has some areas that he's working on, but that's okay. It's a work in progress. And then we start. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Don't discourage everybody right from the start. Okay, why don't you start from the right side here and just talk about the buildings as you go around the curve.
As I say, these are bar mills for about the 5 buildings here. Let's see, we did the station is a make and take we did with Turkey Creek. I had supplied some plans for a station, but this is cut down from what the actual station was. So it's sort of kit bashed. And again, there's some more.
I should say here real quick, Turkey Creek is our local NMRA club. And once a year, they all get together and we make a kit. Everybody that comes to the meeting actually makes one. This one was made up. You supplied some of the plans?
Yeah, the plans, and Larry Deal drew up the drawings. And
Larry Deal's one of our retired architects. I cut a bunch of parts, and also Ray Brown cut a bunch of the parts for this one. So we kind of make them so that people can build them with at least some success. Trying to give them experience in both laser cut and scratch building and all kinds of different things.
That building's another one that was on the make and take.
He's pointing to this one right here. This building was another make and take that we cut out.
And here's another make and take we did.
Hold on, we'll get around here. I'll point on the camera here. This building was also a make and take.
No.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
I've got it in it. I've got it in the lens. My finger's doing the pointing for you.
Okay.
And then he's got a bunch of other buildings all the way around the corner. So you got plenty of buildings to put in. It's just a matter of, as always, of taking the time and trying to get the time to plant them and get everything kind of situated.
Yeah, some of them
What's that?
About 30 to 36 inches.
He's got about 30 there in front of where he's standing right now. And then if I pan around here, he's got about 36 inches on this side as well. And basically, if he's up, you can tell by looking at him here with Dale in front of the railroad, he's got it up around eye level or so, shoulder level, which I think is a good height for seeing trains getting a good perspective of them. But if he was standing on a stool, he'd be able to reach everything there. He can work it fairly easily. There's nothing that has that much of a deep reach that he can't get to it. So we'll come back around.
That's one Kent made with 3D printer. This little building.
Yeah, this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kent Hurley, that we've had on the show a couple of times, does an awful lot of 3D printing. And what he's saying is that building was actually 3D printed by Kent. Kent provides a lot of buildings for some of us around Kansas City here. It's pretty generous with his cutting.
Those are some Campbells. And
I'm going to try and come around now with do a little more here. If we can pan without driving everybody nuts. Now we're into an area, though, where Dale has really managed to complete some of the scenery. And sorry for the lighting, but because the railroad's so big, I couldn't really set lights. So we're going with the available light that Dale has on the railroad. And that's another thing. You're changing now currently to LEDs.
correct.
And you're adding a bunch of lights as well.
Yeah,
as you go along.
have some coming in. I need to add a little bit more where I need some and all. So
it's got a really nice bridge scene here, arch bridge coming up over the tracks, and really neat scene. Got some cars back behind there approaching the highway crossing. That's right. It's just late afternoon. We just lost a little of the sun. It's setting in the west here. Now the building that you have here on the right, the one up here, is which one?
Bar Mills.
Bar Mills. Okay. And the little shack type building.
I think that is too.
Also Bar Mills. Good. Okay. And we got some cars spotted in there. Now, one thing we talked about earlier before we went on air was you have not that much space in your yards, but you do have an awful lot of space out here on the main line where once they get the trains out, there's plenty of switching that can occur out here.
Yeah,
on the main.
And this double tunnel here, this comes up the other side from staging.
Okay, so this is where the staging tracks then are coming out.
Right.
So I'm having trouble rolling over cables here, but we'll hope for the best. There we go. Those are the tracks that are coming up from staging, and they do go then on around this corner of the railroad and proceed on around. And this city with the grain elevator?
Cement plant.
Cement plant. Okay, my mistake.
That's okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. We'll move around. We're going to gain some light here as we go around the corner. Oh yeah, the sun has definitely gone down over here on this part. We're kind of losing light fast over here. And then we got. Okay, all right. But here we got a little kind of corner setting tucked inside the tracks. Really kind of cool. And these buildings are
downtown Deco, the brick.
That one looks like downtown Deco.
And that I think's Bar Mills.
Okay. Art Fahey does a wonderful job of in his laser cut kits. He really does. Looks so real. All right, and then you got Sherwin-Williams signs. We're gaining a little light. We're getting back to the dawn or a little bit better, closer to the sun.
You okay with the cord?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay.
All right, and we're starting here at Morton Salt, and that is basically a building front.
Yeah, that's just design preservation. All these are building fronts that some of them might be some other buildings and all, but a lot of these I just made up without maybe much rhyme or reason and all. One thing I will point out, they don't really have any purpose, but a lot of some of the piping and stuff on there, save your old sprues from your cars and stuff like that are smooth and rounded. You can stick them on buildings. They look like piping for buildings and all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really, that exterior piping that they had a lot in the East.
Mm-hmm.
All over the place. You've got a whole bunch up in this upper section of this building up in here.
Yeah.
Really kind of nice. It certainly adds a lot of detail. we had an old friend down in San Antonio who said you need the chunkies, the chucklies, I think chunkies he called it, which is the mass of the building. But you also need the pricklies, the things like the water tank and the pipes coming over and the details, because you want people to look at it, but then you want them to also take a closer look and see what else is there, which is really kind of cool. I hear the welder working.
Yeah.
As we get closer. Sorry, my cord got caught again. Okay, now we'll be able to go. Cord strung everywhere. What's that? What's that? Oh, yes, with explosive signs there. Yeah, he's got, I haven't shown, but he's got all kinds of interesting memorabilia, railroadinia, some people would call it, around the walls. These are mostly signage from the railroad or support areas.
I don't think they use that anymore.
With that cigarette loading? No, probably not. And here, I don't want to make people busy, but I'll show you. Dizzy too much, but we'll pan around what was behind us as we came down here. All kinds of things here.
That's a one room schoolhouse across from where I lived, where my dad went to school.
This one?
No, the next one. It's a
okay.
community show. This is my grandfather and great grandfather Civil War reunion.
Okay.
My great grandfather fought in the
this house.
That house is where my great grandfather lived.
Okay. So all kinds of family things and railroad things as well, you know, around the walls of the railroad. Really kind of cool. And then
if you want to do the welders inside there, you might be able to
see. Well, I'll tell you what, Johnny, I'm gonna see. I got to get my control pad here so we can change cameras around a little bit. All I got to do is find out where I left it. This railroad is like Laurel Joyner's old railroad down in San Antonio. You got to walk about 6 miles. The thing's only 10 feet away, but you can't get there because it's literally what we used to call a maze railroad. And you got to do some walking. I'm going to swap cameras here so give you guys something to watch while I change out cables and go to a different cable, because then we'll be able to go across the backside, hopefully.
You need that and all.
Yeah, I need this one over here.
Okay. Switch it up. You want me to move this camera so you can come down through here?
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt to lose it because it's in the off. We'll for sure run into it if I don't. Okay, now let's go to, I think this guy. All right. Now we can go on down with the camera that we were on before. And where is your welder? Is he in the roundhouse there? The engine house? No, where is he? In there?
Yeah, it's inside there.
All right. Let me see if I can pick this whole rig up. Can you see anything in there, Johnny? I can't tell. Okay. And you hear the welder? Where's the speaker? Up there by the
speaker's right underneath of it.
You hear that? Okay. It's a pretty good representation of it. Fred Hewland was a model railroader, or is a model railroader here in Kansas City. And it's been probably 35 years ago, I guess. He owned the #1 high fidelity store here in town. And he sold all the high-end, hi-fi stuff to the, I can't remember what they call themselves.
Audio Associates.
Yeah, his place is
Yeah.
Audiophiles. That's what I want to
Yeah.
say. The Audiophiles, the guys that are really crazy about audio stuff. At any rate, he came up with these high fidelity players for model railroads, and they were kind of pricey, but man, do they make some great sounds. And that's what Dale's got scattered out around the railroad. That was the Crows and the Welder and all kinds of different sounds. Okay, your Schmidtkins?
That's a Bar Mills.
Bar Mills, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this town is?
Oh, I'm calling it right now Williamsport.
Okay, all right. But it is a switching location around the railroad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got.
All right, you got a bunch of your rock work. We can take a look a little bit at that. And that's going to have some green then around it.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Oh,
right?
yeah. It's just basic right now, and a lot of the mountains that are flat are going to have trees on them and all like that. They're just going to be pretty flat and all, but I can put trees on for that. You know.
Okay. All right, and then you said down here. Then I called it coke oven, and you correct me and told me that's a brick oven.
Yeah,
we do have
Williamsport had Cushwell bricks.
Okay. And that's another switching siding then.
Yeah.
For the operators to come into.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe run out of cord on this one.
You've got plenty of cord down here.
Forgive me, you guys are going to get a look at the tracks here off and on, but we're going to swap cameras one more time. What I've done this time, I'm trying to get by with using only 2 cameras, but I've got to swap cables in order to continue to give you a view. So, the railroad's so big, we ran cables around here to different locations, but for that reason, we have to keep switching cables. There we go, and we'll go back to this one. Okay, we're coming around now, coming around the mountain. Rocks. And now we're getting into that area of the yard that you talked about at the very start of the show that wraps around this corner of the railroad, right?
Right.
Yeah. And a bunch of flats again to give it an ambiance. I like the coal unloading facility here. I don't know if anybody can see it, but they did this a lot. They had a roadway that would come up here and the trucks would back out onto this platform and then literally dump their coal right down into the cars. Really kind of cool. It's a prototype. It really did happen.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, for the scenery, a lot of it's plaster cloth with sculpt a mold over it. The rock castings are hydrocal, and a lot. I use different molds and all that I have.
Rubber molds from various suppliers. Yeah. Okay.
Some I made myself and all with rocks, and some I bought. Just depending.
I like the Hood's milk there. It's kind of cool. Get this thing to drag along as we go. Not doing too bad. You really kind of get an idea for the scope of the railroad and how big it is, though, because he's turned the corner here and you're running about 15 feet or so up this end of the yard. And one thing that you have done, I really like these commercial holders for the throttles, and you've put those down on the front of the railroad there where you can pick up one up and show them. I really think those are nice because they hold the controllers pretty well, and yet, right there at the front where you can get to them. And let me see if I can back off a little bit here. I don't know if I can get a close-up of those or not. The green lights down here these are what I would call wire management grommets. They're the things we put in discs.
Yeah, they are.
To manage wires and discs. But then you've made a black plastic face on that. And when you throw those switches, you then get an indication. Hopefully they were able to pick that up and it went to red. Not sure. That one didn't show so well. Yeah, try the next one up and see how I think maybe it'll show. You can barely see the red. All right, I'm going to take a chance here. Ooh, come up. Well, you're down now where you can see. All right, now, if he reaches in there, go ahead and throw one. And it'll show. So he has direct indication right there on which direction that turnout is actually going. Really kind of cool. Using any ground throws?
No,
hand throws?
no, everything's tortoise.
Okay. All tortoises. And are you direct wiring now, or are you going through a rabbit or some other controller?
Direct wiring.
Direct wiring. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're coming along here now in the yard, almost back actually where we started off at the beginning of the show. I like the control tower. That's nice. Now this is another one of our make and takes, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the original kit I did from and I can't think of who did it and all that we started out. That's actually the full size, the way it came. I have two others that I've cut down either one side or the other, depending, but they're probably 2/3 of the size of that.
I'm going to come in on this for just a minute because I want everybody to kind of see this. See if we can get it better.
Do you want it up? I can pick it out of there. It'll come.
No, what I'm trying to do is get a focus on it. I should have. I don't know. I'm getting. Are you getting a good shot of that, Johnny, at all? To see that? Okay. Larry Deal came up with this idea. This is actually black construction paper, and he has taken chalks, and he uses pure chalks, not the ones that I like that have the grease or the oil in them. These are actually just chalks. And that's the best way I can describe them. And he scrapes them off on a sheet, uncut sheet, 8.5 by 11. And he throws reds and browns and yellows and blacks in there. He takes mineral spirits in and brushes over that whole sheet. And then he comes back and he cuts them into the strips, and he kind of distresses the edges to make this distressed old tar paper look, and then lays the strips on the building. And I think that the look is just absolutely dynamite, but it's simply chalks and then stroked on with mineral spirits to give it that streaking.
That's actually some I've done.
Okay, all right, but with his technique.
Yeah. What I've done is taking the black paper and put the mineral spirits on, and then taking some some paint sometime, and you can do that and then cover it with the chalk and all, and just take like a dental pick and just sort of distress the edges.
The edges, yeah.
And
I think it makes a dynamite looking, really old tar paper roof look.
You can add a little bit of weathering along the edges too. That helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, yeah. Winds up looking pretty good. Keep my cables coming here so we can see. And here we're back to that viaduct that I was talking to at the first, and his car ferry then just over the top of the viaduct. And now you're looking at the backside of the crew lounge where we started. He actually has a nice little wet bar over there and some other things. You can see my other camera, but he's got a nice TV up in there. And then behind me, I want to pan around and let you talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you have, if I can get it in camera, back here on the back wall. These are mostly, I think, caboose and locomotive pictures.
Yeah, there's some clinch field here because, as I was telling Miles, my great uncle was superintendent and general manager of the clinch field till about 1945. From 1908 to about 1945. There's a picture here of National Bureau of Standards, their weight car. I have that because I worked for Federal Grain Inspection Service, and we took over the weight. There's weight cars out there now. A lot of these are Western Maryland pictures of engines and different things that I have.
Okay. But as we get back in here in the back, that's where I'm kind of trying to work my way back a little bit. Now, the buildings. This one specifically here.
Well, this is Hager's by the yard in Hagerstown. This is security coming east on the Western Maryland. This is right outside of Smithburg. Both of these pictures are Allenberg's orchards. I grew up there, and I grew up in Cavetown. If anybody knows Western Maryland, Highfield's at the top of the mountain. That's this old Smithburg station. That's near Itnar Road. That's Sibyllsville, Chewsville, Smithburg. They're all places going east on Western Maryland out of Hagerstown before it gets to the top of the mountain and splits. One side's the eastern stub that goes to Baltimore. The other one goes the Dutch line up into Pennsylvania. But those are just pictures of around home and all where I grew up.
I like the fact that around the railroad, you kind of group things by interest. You had some of the things that were off of the cars, the placards and those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
You've got family, area, living area here. You've got cars and locomotives in one place. It's really kind of neat the way you've kind of organized things around. And it gives a little interest. The railroad, obviously, if people haven't picked up on it, the railroad is an island actually in the railroad area here, because you don't touch actually against the walls anywhere.
No, I was going to do it around. I was going to do around the wall, and I just decided against it because I didn't want to. I know I'm getting old, and sooner or later it's going to come down, and it'd be a lot easier to tear down in the middle than it is on the wall
When it's built in.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
But certainly with this amount of space, you have an awful lot of run. You've got an awful lot of places to put in switches. You can just do marvelous things with this much railroad. Really, really kind of neat. All right, let me go back to I'm going to switch up and go back to the camera that's up front here. And Johnny, did we get any questions at all?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, go for it.
Josh is watching, so.
Oh, yeah. Say hello to Josh.
Yeah. All right, this is Newcastle Railroad Cohen, Josh. Are you hosting op sessions, and are you using TT and TO like Prototype? I see ABS signals. What are you using for car routing, switch list, or waybills?
I haven't gotten to that. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I don't know. I operate on several different railroads, and I have different ideas, and depends on what I do, what I will. The only two switches or signals you see, they're just delayed signals to tell you when it goes to the hidden staging that how far a train is in front of you and all like that. That's the only thing that they're there for right now.
But now you are thinking about doing detection down, especially in the staging
detection
area.
down there for getting in and out of staging and what's on what track.
How many tracks do you have down there in that staging area?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 stub ends on the peninsula in the middle, and there's a track that runs completely around it. Then there's 10 through tracks on the end, and 5 more stubs on the end there too.
Okay. So how many feet you think you have of storage down there underneath?
100.
A lot.
Probably 400 feet.
Yeah. It's a significant amount of storage down there. So you really do need detection
Yeah.
to be able to tell what's down there.
Yeah. I mean,
and then Are you thinking then about doing signaling up here on the main line?
I don't, if I do, it won't be that much and all.
Okay. So you're going to run, essentially, to answer Josh's question, or at least head that general direction, you're probably going to do train orders
Yeah.
for movement. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh is real big on operations and train orders,
Yes,
way
yeah.
bills, and all that. C&L lines, which is Curtis. Did the track plan grow as you built it? Was it planned out ahead of time?
Some of it was planned out, and then some of it grew as I went along and all. I mean, this area where the car float is, that I've just sort of added to here recently, and sort of as I built it as I went along and all. But the rest of it was sort of planned out.
Okay. Yeah, I
Right,
think with my railroad, I knew basically where the tracks were going to go, but they may have changed a little bit in a particular area. If
Yeah.
I thought a switch didn't work for this area or whatever, you can always move.
The main line was pretty well planned out. Some of the sidings and switches and things came in afterwards too.
Yeah. I've always said it's okay to draw it in the computer or to draw it on paper or however you're going to draw your plan. But when you go to make it full size and you actually put it on your railroad, lots of things sometimes don't fit.
Yeah.
You have to adjust and play with them a little bit. Yeah, Johnny, you were going to say?
That's a good question. Bill Rogers got there. He went, also quite a few telegraph poles still remaining to be put out, he says.
Yeah.
There's always room for detail.
Yeah. And Sparky 107, his question is, what's your favorite picture and why? I guess picture on the wall.
Picture on the wall, I would guess, yeah.
Probably the one with the orchards and all like that there, just because
That's where you grew up.
yeah, it reminds me of home and all like that. And the farm my dad grew up on is now probably 50% orchards and all like that, and all. Just reminds me of it. It's not flat land like out here in Kansas City. And
Well, let's talk a little bit about track maintenance.
Yeah, now that you got all these thousands of feet in here, what are you going to do with it?
okay, I've tried it, and the people that do it would recommend it, and it's called gleaning. You take real fine, like sandpaper, like the metal sandpaper, and you start out with about 400 grit, and you go down to 1500 grit, and after you do that, you get a stainless steel washer, and you rub it, and at first it will seem like the washer will drag and not go over it very well, but the more you rub it, the more it loosens up, and then it gets to the point where it's almost like glass. And from what I've talked with the people that have done it, they said other than dusting it off a little bit, you don't have any trouble with the track getting dirty and all like this.
So they're actually literally polishing it to a glass finish.
Right,
Okay.
right. It's called gleaning
Okay.
and all.
Hadn't heard of that before. That's a new one.
I've tried that on some of the main line and all, and it seems to work and all. So I don't know, but I don't know. I haven't done it that long, so I don't know how it'll last and all like that. But
What is Jim Daly doing? Because you operate a lot over at his railroad. Has he done that, or has he done something else?
he when you have O scale and they weigh about 10 pounds a piece. He doesn't do anything. The running just polishes the rail and all. But I know Bill Shearer does it. Lon Daly does it and all. And they were the ones that told me about it and all.
Okay.
So.
For those of you who don't know, Lon Daly is the brother of Kevin Daly, who owns RMC and the NMRA magazine and a bunch of others. He owns the publishing company that does all that. So they're pretty much dedicated railroaders throughout that family.
Yeah.
Josh wants to know, do you have all your station signs up yet?
No.
That's the short answer. But you do know where they're going to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, that's good.
Yeah. But you know, I've added some things to some little places and all like that. If you look around the coal mines below them and all, there's little like freight and waiting sheds there and all, because I'm modeling early enough that there was still some small passenger trains running. They ran till 57, so I'm okay there.
I got a question here from CNX Railline Productions. Are the backdrops wood or stained glass? They look awesome.
They're just masonite, except in the curved corners I've worked in plastic. In the end, they're just plastic wrapped around and all. But it's just masonite on both sides of like 1x4s.
All right.
Now he is talking about the backdrops, right? Not the mountain. The mountain's just, you know, cardboard strips with Sculptamold over or Hydrocal.
I've got one of his backgrounds now in the shot, but I'm going to give you another one here real quick, and we'll show you what he meant by. This is where it comes out to a pointed end here. This wall's coming up, and he just has a piece of PVC or something now on the end.
It's just thin plastic that.
Okay, styrene type.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I just wrapped around and just used like sheetrock mud to smooth it out. Used the fiber sheetrock tape to blend it into the masonite, and then just use the mud and feather it out.
Okay. And it looks fine. You don't really notice that it stops. I've got cameras on it now, but that wall that you see now is actually this wall, and that picture I just showed you is a little bit to the left of what you see right now.
Yeah.
I did that a little bit to give you a shot of the building so you can see some of the details that he's done, because they really are extremely well done. And even the parts that aren't finished, I think, really are showing what he's going to do. Here's the viaduct up a little closer. Really looks nice.
Yeah, Sparky 107, he's well, let me move my cursor so I can read what he's saying. Oh shoot, quit that. Yes, he wants to know if you've had any experience, either one of you, whatever. He said, not sure I have this right, but what about using a CRX tank cleaning car, the brass car, pad on bottom, add cleaning solution to it, and let it run? So is this
Aztec, and there's a bunch of people that make cars that are either I'd call them sliders. Sliders, they either have masonite or sandpaper on them, or some of them have chemical pads for the chemical feeds.
Well, he's talking about the one. It actually fills. You fill it with a cleaning liquid. No, this is a tank that you fill with cleaning solution and all. And
I don't have experience with that.
I've never used it. The thing you get into with some of them is what residue you're going to have and all like that. Because I know, like the center line says use Goo Gone, and I didn't really like that. The thing I found cleaning as well as anything is like 91% alcohol too. That'll clean good and all, like, you know, for either track or your wheels and all.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was talking about the real expensive.
Yeah, I know
car.
what I know what he's talking about, but I have no experience with it. I have the centerline cars that I've used, and I've just used those with like I just coat one with alcohol and one for like a dry behind it and all to pull some of the stuff off, and then I have a box car I made up with just some pads on it that runs too.
Yeah. Yeah, Sparky said he used 80% alcohol.
Trying to give
that
some
car
different
flow.
shots as we talk.
Yeah, I like that car
I
flow.
really like the barge, the viaduct, his mines, and some of that finished scenery that we saw kind of in the back in the middle of the show. I think they really look great. He's doing a nice job with them.
What kind of waters you going to put in there? Yeah.
I'm gonna try what's the new Woodland Scenics?
Deep
That's my
port.
man.
Yeah, deep water. I'm gonna try that. I've painted the bottom a little bit, but I just gotta get it lined up here and get everything set. And I have the stuff, but I just haven't poured it yet.
He's a good man. He uses Woodland Scenics.
Yeah. Well, let us know
Not
how
that I
it
would.
works.
Not that I would be prejudiced or anything.
Let's see. Phil's got a question on, I guess he's asking, it says make of rolling stock and engines. What kind of engines and rolling stock are you running?
Let's see.
Yeah, like your Athearn and
And-
Genesis.
And engines, there's quite a few Stewart with Kato drives. I've gotten a couple new Athearn Genesis. I have some Proto that have been either reworked into gears that needed it. I have some Proto that I used the shell and used Kato drives on them. There's newer stuff. There's some Bowser. Some of the switchers are Bowser. Same as Stewart. The RS3s down on the coal trains are Atlas. Rolling stock. Most of the hoppers are Stewart or Bowser, whichever you want to call it. Most of them are probably Stewart's because they're older. There's Intermountain, there's Katy, there's Tangent, Spring Hill. I'm trying to think all the different ones. There's some Branch Line, a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Do you have a particular sound card that you like on your engines, or are you running that much sound?
Except for that 44 tonner there, everything on the railroad has sound. I like soundtrack, whether it's the Tsunamis or Tsunami 2s, whatever. I like those. I've tried other ones. I have some other ones on the railroad that have other sound, but some of them I've gone away from. I don't know. I've just found it better using the soundtrack and I use Decoder Pro to program them, and I just like that.
Yeah. What's the oh, here we go. Yeah, what's the degree coming up out of staging to the main line? What's the elevation?
Can you repeat that?
What's the degree of climb between staging?
The grade.
Yeah.
It's probably about, I'd say maybe 2% at the most, and all. It's not that big a grade because it runs the whole railroad. I mean, you're coming. It comes from the bottom and comes the whole way around, winds the whole railroad before it ever gets up. So it doesn't have to be that big that big a pull to come out. So I'd say it's probably 2% or less.
About how many cars are you usually running when you come out of the staging? Or what's the average?
I have trains down there 20 and 25. I could probably pull more than that, but I can only get about 25 or 30 on some of the tracks. Some of the tracks I could get more than that are open-ended, but the stub ends, I can only get about 25 or 30 on those.
Yeah. So your average train running the layout's what, about maybe a 20, 25 car train?
Yeah, that's what I'm running and all. And I mean, you were asking about the grade. The only thing that I've stalled coming up there, I have a Clinchfield Steam that I've had about 20 or 25 cars on, and it won't pull the grade with it. But anything else, I have, with the diesels, I'm pulling, 2 or 3 units, sometimes 4, and so they don't have any problem at all coming up.
Yeah.
And my coal trains are weighted because I put, to be realistic on it, I probably add another 2 ounces of weight besides the coal load in there on the the loaded cars.
Yeah. Sparky 107. I mean, I know your car float is sitting flat, but this is interesting. He says your barge set up to tip on improper loading, so if somebody's switching it out and moved the car the wrong way, it'd tip over.
No, it's not set up like that. I don't really want to do that and all, but
yeah, you're sitting right on the edge of the layout. No, I wouldn't do it sitting
no
there.
No, it's all flat.
There's sometimes when you can just get a little bit too real.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be the Addams Family and have the big train wreck.
Yeah.
I want to show you, I don't know how many people were here. Was it 98, wasn't it, that we had the convention here in Kansas City? And I wasn't here at the time. I mean, I came in and Fran and I did clinics at it, but we didn't actually live here then. But they had a thing called the Gold Creek Central Railroad. And this car is G-scale. And this is the one that Dale built to go on that railroad. He just kind of kept it. The railroad has since been dismantled and is gone, but this one to see it, it's a beautifully detailed stock car.
Yeah. That
And,
looks real good.
Of course, it was narrow gauge.
No, it was standard.
This was narrow. Yeah, trust me, it's narrow gauge. You guys may have called it standard gauge, but it was narrow gauge. For G-scale, it's narrow gauge. It's 3 foot, or thereabouts anyway, pretty close.
I see you've done some weathering on some of your cars there, Dale. What do you like to use for your weathering? Powders, paint, mix?
For the most part, I use chalk, and then I used to use Floquil flat finish in the airbrush, but now I've been using dull coat or something like that, just a fixative and all like that. Now I've tried some on some of the hopper cars here lately. I've been using that Dr. Benz weathering too, the pigments and all, a little bit. I've started trying some of that. Some of that gives pretty good effect and all too. But
Yeah.
for the most part, most of the cars are chalk weathered and then dull coated.
Yeah, I'm looking at the track work here on the car float, and I can see where you got your rusted spots and all. That's looking good.
Yeah, well, that's a place where I used the Dr. Benz and all. I read about it and I just started trying that and all. So that's what I use on the car float.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Come on.
You get it?
And I got a comment earlier that definitely want to come back and see layout a little later on after you gotten some more of the scenery done on it.
That's right. We do too.
Yeah.
See, that's the narrow gauge part of the layout back there.
Back in there.
Right back there.
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting ready to give you a picture of some other cars here, but I had to move camera.
Yeah. Okay.
So I fixed you on one. We'll get to another one. Anybody else have any questions or?
No. I mean, everybody's been commenting. They really like the layout. It looks great, and it does.
Super. Now let me find my control pad again. I always lay it down and I lose track of what I did with it. There we go. There's some other cars that are up at the mine. I'm looking right at the two Western Maryland cars there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And gives you a good view of the mine as well. Very nice.
Now that mine.
That's all we've got pretty much, I think.
Yeah, that mine there was the kit, right?
Yeah, BTS.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much taking us around the railroad. You've seen pretty much everything, I think. Bench work.
Looks like
What'd you do for bench work?
L girder.
L girder, okay.
Yeah.
And 2x2 legs I see, and then you're cross braced.
Yeah.
And then your risers are 1x4s essentially to raise up.
Yeah.
And what'd you use for a sub road bed then? Plywood or use of wood?
I used plywood and then homo bed, road bed.
Okay, on top of that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you. I either like homosot or homo bed. I don't care which one you use, but I just think the homosot works better.
I just getting the guy to get you some homo beds.
Yeah,
the major problem.
Yes, yeah. Lots of times I've taken to cutting the homosot myself, and then just that way I'm the only one I have to rely on. Don't have to rely on somebody from someplace else. I won't say California. We'll say from someplace else.
Yeah, Andy, what's the kit for that loadout? I guess he's talking about that one. You said that was a BTS kit, so.
What's the kit?
Yeah, he was. I don't know.
It's.
Yeah, I guess the mine right there, the green one, that was a BTS kit, right?
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and if they can hear you not, but yes, it was a BTS kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes with some of the small mine cars and has a rotary dump and all for the mine cars and all. Might be hard to see that back behind.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I can get this tripod to cooperate for a second and go just a little bit higher, we can go up maybe and get up to it. There's a little bit now. Let me open up this guy. if I can do it or not. Can you hold the camera?
That's
really
okay.
Say, well, we'll try and do it for you. Don't say we didn't try.
Well, while you're doing that, how did you spike the rail down?
Just, I mean, it's just,
Okay. Now it should go up.
okay. Yeah, we're up now.
Okay.
It just through the center of some of the ties and all.
Just using
No,
track
yeah, I think
nails?
he needs what kind of spikes.
Well, he
I don't
didn't.
know, just
Yeah, he wasn't.
spikes that I got from Micro Mart.
Yeah, he just used track nails because you didn't hand lay all your tracks. So.
Yeah, I didn't. It's micro engineering, code 83 and 70.
And now you can get it. I don't know which camera I'm on. You seeing this mine still?
Yeah.
Johnny?
Yeah, I'm seeing the back
Okay, you
where
see
there's
those
some small
narrow
cars.
gauge cars back there in the back.
Yeah.
Let me pan around. You can see a little bit maybe about where they go.
Well, they go into
Back in
there's
that-
there's a rotary dumper in there.
Yeah, back in there. Makes for nice scenes. It's a good comparison size-wise from the little small narrow gauge mine tracks,
Oh, yeah.
standard gauge.
Yeah. Let's see. We got a comment here from JL and S&H Rail Fanners for Life. Very nice layout. Definitely want to see more of this one. Thank you for letting us check it out, and thank you Miles and Johnny as well for the production team for putting the show together. You're very welcome.
I don't see the messages.
Also, Andy said he liked the scale house.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's down front, I think, a little bit. The
Yeah.
scale house is
Yeah.
down a little bit front. We pan it down a little bit and come in on it.
Yeah, whoa, there you go.
There you go.
That put about the center of the screen there, so.
Yeah, he really has done a good job of understanding the industries and putting the buildings in to support what's going on. And I think that's part of being a model railroader, is going back and doing the research and figuring out what people need to do in order to make industries real,
Yeah.
or seem to be anyway.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all we got, Johnny, unless you got more questions.
No, it's pretty well wrapping up.
Okay.
So I'll
We
just get on back over here and want to say thank you, Miles and Dale, for letting us come in tonight and view your layout.
We appreciate it. We had a great time showing you the railroad. It's a fantastic railroad. It really is. And like I say, Dale has put an awful lot of thought into it, and his execution on everything is just fantastic. He's doing a great job.
Oh, yes. Yes, he is. Got some really nice buildings there. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody in the chat for coming in. Thank you for your comments and questions also. Be sure and go to YouTubeModelBuilders.com. There you can check on the schedules for the Tuesday, Wednesday, and the live show. Tuesday, Wednesday are on Central Time. They are 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. The Thursday night and the Saturday live show is 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And talking about that live show, we got one coming up this coming Saturday, April the 15th, with Barry and Big Bill. And they've got a good show planned out. Also, while you're at YouTubeModelBuilders.com, be sure and click on the e-magazine. Sign up for that. That way you'll get notified when the magazine comes out. It is bi-monthly. JD and his team do a fantastic job. You can also, if you got ideas for articles or you want to write an article for the magazine, there's also a link right there that you can let JD know. He'll be glad to hear from you. And if you have pictures or something that you'd like to send in, they do a collage there. They'll add your picture to that too.
And you should say, Johnny, that it's free.
Yes, it is. It is very free. Definitely free. In fact, all of this is free. All our shows. But we appreciate the viewership and the participation from the community. That's for sure. That's what we do it for, is for the community. Let's see, I think I had one more thing to say, and I don't forgot what it was. So with that said, I am going to say good night, and we shall see you Saturday night with Barry and Big Bill. Everyone have a good evening.